Can you give us a countdown and do the thing where you go 3?
No, because we're already recording.
Oh man, we're already recording. Dang it!
Already recording.
You like chugged that water.
It's like half gone.
Some would say it's half full.
I sipped on it.
Depends on your perspective.
My perspective is that it's gone because
You drank it.
I drank it.
Yeah. So how you been?
I've been.
Yeah. It's been like 2 months.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Been really busy.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
we've heard.
I've been really
So
busy.
we've heard.
Yeah.
I have too. I've been working.
Oh wow. Trying to
Yeah.
like brag now.
I'm on
Like
hiatus.
I'm also important
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Ooh,
So
I can hear you in this ear, but not the other.
I know. I don't
It's
know why
okay.
it does that. It's
Oh well.
It's weird. I think it's the box. I don't think it allows for like monos.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of interesting conversations going on right
Yeah.
now.
So there's a couple of things that we wanted to talk about previously that we didn't.
Okay.
So one thing I've been dying to talk about with someone,
Okay.
anyone, and I figure you'd be a good person because you're else too lazy to have read the
If
book.
it's movie related, I've seen them all.
It's Ready Player One.
Oh yeah.
But the book more so because I haven't been able to see the movie yet. Like
Okay.
we went and saw Avengers twice instead of seeing Ready Player One, and I totally had this idea because
I think that's a missed opportunity because
Yeah.
Ready Player One soundtrack and visuals are
they good?
you gotta see it in
I
the
think
theater
it's
for
still in
that.
theaters. I want to try to, but I told
Unless you got a setup at home.
We have a pretty good setup,
if you
but
got,
probably-
if you have the setup at home with
Yeah.
massive screen in front of you, that
65
does
inch
4K,
4K
and
TV,
then surround
and
sound
surround
with the bass and
7-in-1, yeah. So we got that, but still the theater is like you can't compete with the popcorn, the experience.
All around.
Yeah. I love that. So Harkins, you go to Harkins?
No, I go to
Oh, they do that.
Roadhouse Theater.
They do that at Roadhouse too?
Yeah,
Oh, they
I
do it
love
at
Roadhouse.
Harkins, and I just love that. It's like so
All
creepy.
around.
It's like all around you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh.
I know, right?
I feel like I'm gonna be like
It's
shot
some
right
ASMR
now.
shit.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
does that-
so-
what does that mean? ASMR.
I don't know.
That's what that is, though.
Oh.
It's like where it sounds
Android.
like somebody is like whispering in your ear directly, but they're not there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like a thing.
Is it paranormal or is it
no,
more
it's
like
it's like a auditory stimuli.
mm,
It's like a weird.
Sensory meridian response.
Yeah.
I think that's that whisper porn that Cody listens to.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
This guy we work with, he likes whisper porn.
Whisper porn. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's not the only purpose it serves, but leave it to porn to hijack some
But it's
interesting
the
shit.
thing is like if you listen to it, it's sometimes it's just people reading like a grocery list and
Right.
whispering it. They're like,
right.
when I go to the
It's because
store,
when you hear it, you get chills.
I need to get apples
Gives you this weird tingly sensation or something
and
like that.
bananas.
In your penis.
And I also need chips and salsa.
All right, we're not making an ASMR podcast.
Okay.
That was
But
pretty good, though.
We
That was
could.
pretty good, though.
I'm just warming up.
I think you might
Yeah.
have a new career
I
path.
should. I mean, I have the
developing.
mic. This is in the off time. Just gonna record whisper porn stuff.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Hey, use the equipment for multiple purpose.
Yeah.
Not a good
Um,
idea, but-
But yeah, so
All right, Ready Player One, go.
The
Lay it on
book.
me. What do you want to know?
So-
what do you want to talk about?
well, first off, I loved it.
It's fucking amazing.
It was just really good.
Yeah.
Really well put together. There was some parts that were kind of predictable, especially like towards the end a little bit.
Okay.
But I liked it. I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
loved the twist with H.
Oh yeah.
Like that, I thought was
it got me too. It got
Because
me, too.
when he said it, I was just like, at first I was like, well, maybe it's like a friend of H's, like who drives his
Right.
van, and then I was like, oh no, it's
No.
straight up is
yeah,
that's
it's
H.
good.
But I like that twist because normally it's like guys pretending to be girls on the internet and
Yeah.
not always the other way
Right,
around and
right.
stuff. I really liked the plan that he did where he like
Oh, where he
got
like,
himself
snuck in and got
arrested,
captured and
yeah,
whatnot?
because he
Yeah.
changed his like ID and
Pretty
stuff.
nuts.
Like, and then he, like, but that's crazy too is he kind of risked it because he didn't know if that back door was even going to work
Right. He just bought it off the black
Yeah.
market
Yeah.
on online.
online. Yeah,
Like what?
yeah. I really thought that was pretty cool.
Right.
And then the Pac-Man thing with the extra quarter,
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
that was pretty sweet. And so yeah, I mean, I just really like because what's crazy about it too is the whole time that I was like reading it, I was just like, I could see this happening
Yeah.
like tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, but soon.
The Day After Tomorrow.
Oh, that's a movie.
Okay, then not that
horrible.
then. Yeah, Jake
I've
Gyllenhaal
never finished it.
and Dennis Quaid.
One movie I've tried to watch like 10 times in my life.
There's a throwback for all you fans out there.
And I can never like stay awake
Quaid.
to finish it.
Really? I don't. I
Yeah.
can't even tell you what it's about. I think the snow attacks them. Like I think really in the movie they're literally running away from frost.
Yeah. Because it's going to freeze and kill them.
Yeah,
Because it's like,
Yeah,
It's like global warming.
it's like global warming,
climate change.
climate change.
I think they say global warming.
Yeah.
Not before people got PC about it.
How is it global warming if things are freezing?
Boom.
Blue.
Yeah. Facts. Oh, we don't have
Boom.
our papers.
We don't have papers today. Wing it. Wing it.
Oh man.
They were fake papers anyway.
Ooh, a paper.
Oh,
I think
snap.
this is the receipt for the table.
Oh, cool.
Oh, look at this.
We
Yes.
paid a lot of money for it. Oh.
Yes. How about that?
So, anyways,
I like how they chart. It's two separate things. It's the base dining table and the top. So it's like I just want the base.
Yeah.
I don't need the
Some
top
people do that
because
Maybe
they're
they make
all
the
about that
bottom
base.
themselves. Yeah. All about that base. No travel.
Yeah. So there's our one paper.
What'd you think of Avengers?
I really liked it.
I liked it too.
I thought that the only thing that I don't like about it is something that hasn't happened yet, and that's it pretty much being undone, like the ending of it.
Yeah,
Because
it will
there's-
for the most part. I think somebody was trying to tell me, and I don't know how. It seemed like a good theory.
What I
I
thought
don't
would
think
be
they have
pretty
source
cool though
material to
is
back it
like
up.
the ending. Everyone that was left alive is really who died, and what they saw happen is the people like they really vanished away. Because if you look at everyone that lived, it's all like the original for the most part, like cast. So you have like Iron Man, Captain America, because like people that were taken were like, you know, and I don't want to
Yeah.
spoilers this.
No, fuck it. If you haven't seen it by now,
Spoilers,
you're
hardcore.
fucked.
And if I haven't said that, I mean, I already ruined it anyway. So
Yeah,
just
so, like-
watch this, then decide if you want to rewind it and watch what you already watched to not get spoilers. Like, because Scarlet Witch was
Yep.
taken.
I thought War Machine got taken
No,
too, but
he
didn't.
wasn't. It was Falcon.
Falcon, yeah.
Yeah. And so just like Doctor Strange, Spider-Man,
I
like
know.
all of like the
All of
newer
the Guardians
ones,
of the
Black
Galaxies.
Panther, yeah, with the exception of Nebula. But she
Yeah,
wasn't really
she's
a
not
Guardian.
really a Guardian.
She's just from that movie.
Yeah.
But I thought that that would be an interesting perspective. It's like they're inside the soul gem, and then they can save it because they say those people are now gone, and that's an easy exit. So Captain America's gone, Iron Man's gone. Then they don't have to worry about bringing them in the new movies.
So the way I think Infinity Wars ends in the comic is leave it to good old Captain America. I think he sacrifices his life for real to save everyone else.
Is that what
Like
it is?
he sacrifices himself to the Soul Stone permanently to bring back everyone else.
Well, and that was another thing too, is that I had never read the comic before.
I haven't either.
But then
just
I was
heard
like,
about it.
I was looking up stuff about Infinity War, just
Mhm.
like kind of like if there was Easter eggs or whatever that I missed or something. And someone like showed the comic, and they said it was actually really close to it, even the snap, and then it showed people, and then half the people were gone.
Right.
And I was like, so it's not really spoilers if the comic's been on the
Correct.
shelf
It's
for
been
like
forever. Yeah.
a long time. It's only spoilers to
So-
people that are like new age
Right.
comic fans,
Right.
or they're movie fans is really what
Yeah.
it is.
He also fucks people up way worse in the comic. Like
Yeah.
the kind of shit that he does to like kill people. Like you know how he like turned the one mantis chick into a ribbon and
Yeah.
Drac or whatever his name is into something else, and like they kind of
cubes.
like fell apart.
Yeah.
He does that, but like people actually die because. Of
Well, that's what when he did it, I thought that they did.
Yeah.
And then when they were getting up, coming back together, I was like, oh, well, that's not really cool. Like he didn't. But at the same time, I loved Thanos as a bad guy because of the fact that he, like, starting out, you're just like, oh, he's just on this another bad guy's quest for power, or whatever, blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
then throughout the movie, you're like, you kind of start to feel for the guy.
Trying to do everybody a favor because he just sees the unsustainability. Ooh man, so applicable to the real world.
Yeah.
that was what they were
Liberals
going
pushing
for.
their
That's what they were
agenda.
going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, the end. I mean, him sitting on whatever that balcony in a chair and just
Yeah.
watching the sunset. Like,
So my question
you
is
dick.
because he talked about Gamora's planet and he clearly liked Gamora. Do you think that house is on her home planet? Because that's what I was kind of thinking. Like,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
his way to like kind
Yeah.
of hold connection to her. I mean,
Probably.
it's all speculation, but I thought that would have been a really cool like.
I don't understand. So his motivation for wanting to fight anyone is gone
That's what I'm saying. He
at this point.
he achieved
and
it. Yeah,
the gauntlet was basically
pretty much destroyed.
fucked
it
and
looked
destroyed.
Like, yeah.
Like the
Or
stones
at least,
weren't broken, but
No.
the gauntlet was like served
Yeah.
its purpose. Oh, it's gone now.
right.
You snap those fingers, and
It's a one use.
so what happens in the second one? You know what I mean? Like, what motivates him to go back and do it?
I don't know. Maybe
They reverse his.
Yeah, maybe
thing?
they figured out a way to undo it, and he tries to do it again. I'm not sure, but they did say that the title of the Avengers 4 movie it's kind of a spoiler to Infinity War or Infinity Wars.
Okay.
So it's maybe it'll give like, oh, that's what it's gonna, you know what I mean? Like set kind of like an overview.
They haven't
premise.
released the full title though.
No.
That's probably a smart move.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I won't say anything. It's not really like one
I don't
of those.
think it's one of those you
It's
can
one of those
spoil.
movies where like you can still go and watch it
Right.
even if you've
'Cause
heard
it's
all
funny.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need to see it in the context of the movie.
Right.
You know? But
Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I've heard
It's
good
really
things.
good.
I've heard mixed reviews though. Like it's some people say it's better than the first one, others say it's not as good as the first one.
It's fucking Deadpool's Deadpool, man.
Yeah.
I thought the first one was really good. I thought
I
the
love the
second one
first
was really
one,
good.
yeah.
Julie liked the second one.
Really?
Yeah.
Did she like the first one?
I don't think she saw it, but she was like, I'll go see Deadpool 2 with you. And so
Okay.
we went, and she was like, that was really good. It was
Yeah.
really funny. I'm like, yeah, it was.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
somebody that doesn't have any desire to see any kind of superhero / Marvel movie liked
Yeah,
it.
but he's not really a superhero.
He's not. Well, yeah, he is, because he's kind of part of the X-Men.
Yeah. But I mean like where like Captain
Or
Rogers,
The X-Force. Oh
like,
my gosh.
like Steve Rogers, he's just like a good old boy that just wants to like do good by everyone. Deadpool kind of is like
He's an anti-hero.
he just wants to look out
Is
for
what he
himself, but
technically
he doesn't
is.
want to do bad stuff.
Correct.
Like he has superpowers, he just doesn't want to be evil about it.
Yeah.
Like, but he's not
But
necessarily.
he does at some points in like his comic book story life. Like,
Oh, does he?
yeah, like at one point, I think he's trying to get like to do evil enough shit that he attracts the attentions of the Avengers, and like he wants the Avengers. He's got high hopes that they can kill him because he wants to die.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was even some talks of having Deadpool in like the next Avengers movie because
Yeah,
now that
I mean,
Marvel owns
They kind of
that stuff
they
again.
merge and cross over in the comics.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be too far fetched. I think
Yeah.
it'd be cool.
It would be cool, but at
Super
the same time, it would be Deadpool going to a PG-13 because Avengers wouldn't go to an R.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
So there would just have to get clever about that. But honestly, I've been such a huge fan of Marvel movies. Even if you take away the comic book and superhero thing of it, just how they're put together and like even
Yeah.
like the story. I know some people like don't really care for it too much, and you're always gonna have haters in anything
Right,
you do.
right.
But like I really like Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was the
Thor
best
Ragnarok?
Thought it, yeah, Ragnarok.
Ragnarok?
I thought it was the best Thor movie to date.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I felt like my opinion on it was like the reason why Guardians of the Galaxy worked so well is because it was kind of like far fetched. It was kind of cartoony, if you will.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't really relate to like other planets and stuff.
Right.
Like Iron Man and Captain America, they have a more serious tone to them.
Yeah.
But they're also from Earth and they're relatable and they're just
Right,
going
they're
to.
humans.
Right. And so it's like they can take that kind of more serious tone.
Right.
I feel like Thor did that as well. And the first one worked in a sense because he became mortal on Earth and kind of stuff.
God, humanity,
Right.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. We could. The
The
second one,
perspective.
it tried to take that serious tone, but
There was a second one.
yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
kidding.
Like I think I know the name of it too, but I don't want to say it just in case I'm wrong. But
It's
like the Dark World. Yeah.
Dark World,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Pretty good movie.
it was
Yeah.
really terrible.
But it was unrelatable in that serious tone sense because of the fact that he was on like this other planet dealing with like this stuff that we don't even really know about.
right.
You know, it wasn't
it was all
humanized.
kind of like Thor drama.
Right. And it was like, we don't go back to Asgard. You
Yeah.
know, get out of our, if you don't like it, go home. You
Right.
know, get out of our country, take your problems with you.
But I guess That's what's weird is Thor, the third one, Ragnarok.
Right.
It was
stepped
also
back.
a Thor drama, though.
It was, but it stepped back from the serious tone.
Right.
It had more colorfulness. It had
Yeah.
more silliness.
Yeah, there you
like
go.
Guardians of the Galaxy worked really well because of that
comedy
same
aspect.
thing. The comedy
You have to have
aspect.
comedy aspect.
It was just very colorful, and it was like, this is like now just kind of some techno space movie.
Right.
And even in the trailer, like they did like the
Yeah.
light thing, and the play, like the soundtrack and everything.
Yep. That's what makes Ready Player One so good.
Right. And I do want to see that. Although I'm not scared at the sense of like
They changed the story. It's not 100% accurate. to
yeah,
the
and
book,
I'm not too worried about
but
that.
it works for the movie.
Right. And then I heard the writer is working on a sequel to the book.
Ooh,
Doesn't
really?
Yeah, it doesn't really. I think it's called Ready Player 2.
Oh,
So
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And
So
then Ready Player 3 and Ready Player 4.
I don't know. And then
Just make it a 10-book deal.
but like the Oasis to me was just like that, like everything about it. Like it started off as like a kind of like an MMO base, and then it evolved into where people were going to work in the Oasis, and I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I could see that, especially with what we do.
It's going to come up. Yeah, it's going to
Like-
happen someday.
I mean, you just plug in and you're kind of at work in an office doing computer work.
Yep.
Like you're already at a computer at work. Why not just make it like VR? But then at the same time, I guess commercial construction and stuff would kind of be obsolete because
Robots,
everything
man.
or you could have robots building stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the future. That's what we need to do.
Right.
Build robots to replace
So they have
all
those
these-
like super realistic robots, like they're giving them like skin essentially, like they look
Yeah.
like pretty good. They still fall in that uncanny valley kind of like it's like a little creepy,
yeah, they don't
but
pass
like
the Turing test or
Right.
whatever it is.
yeah. And then
That's a crazy like concept.
yeah,
The Turing test or whatever.
I'm not too familiar with the test, but I do know like when something is like close to being human but just a little off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it like unsettles people.
Yeah, it can
It's
be
an
creepy or
unsettling thing
Right.
because you're like, you're not real.
Right.
You're a machine.
but like some of the robots that they
Goddamn.
have, like they even have like through AI and some programming, they're able
Mhm.
to have like conversations and
see
stuff.
the thing for the new Google AI, like the Google Assistant.
Oh,
AI.
the making appointments for you.
Yeah, that was
just-
crazy.
But I mean,
that's pretty crazy.
it is pretty crazy. But I will say Google is notorious for demonstrating features that never work
that aren't
in
practical.
practice.
Yeah.
Like remember their Pixel Buds?
no.
It was supposed to be able to translate in real time. You can have a conversation with anyone. Like they could talk to you in their native language and it would translate in real time, like what they're saying.
Oh yeah.
It didn't work that way. All it did was use like the Google Translate app and it did its best.
Yeah, that's shitty.
Yeah. But they demonstrate it as like this amazing. So the same thing with the Google Assistant
Yeah.
where they're showing like it can schedule a haircut for you. I mean, it'll be cool if it works that way. But they even did say the CEO said that not all of them went that smoothly. And
Yeah.
some of them even turned into like awkward dialogue
Yeah.
because the person was saying something and the assistant was like
Right.
what are you talking about?
right.
You know, so
unrelated, so it didn't know how to like
But
compute.
I
that.
still think that these are all stepping stones
It'll get there.
towards that perfection.
Yeah.
I heard something today that I thought was pretty interesting. It's like if you look around and you see everything, like even here, like this table, microphone, computers, they all were created by someone no smarter than yourself. And so it's like I always try to think about like,
What? No, that's not true.
yes, it is.
All created by somebody not smarter than yourself.
Well, what I mean by that is
I
like
mean, maybe a table was created by somebody not smarter than me.
I don't necessarily mean like if you
you.
guys were to like have a conversation, you'd be like on an equal playing field. But it's just more so saying that everything was created by like a human and they all had the same limitations of humans and what they have. Like if you were to apply yourself, like, because even like building a table, I couldn't build this right now. So someone who could would be smarter than me in that regard.
It's
But
developed, yeah.
If I were to work on it and put a lot, if that's all my energy went into, I know for a fact
Oh
I
yeah,
could
we have the
eventually get there.
ability.
You have the
learn
ability
how.
to learn, yeah.
Some people don't have the ability to learn how.
Well, I mean that is potentially
So
fair.
this is not
but
applicable to everyone.
not everyone, but I think like most people, have the capacity to. They just don't. Like either from entitlement or laziness or whatever the case may be. But I think like if they really were to apply themselves and actually try, because I think a lot of people give up before they ever try.
Oh yeah.
And-
That dude. Did you listen to that podcast
No.
with can't remember the guy's name, but he's like a former, what the hell did he do? He was trying to be pararescue. He was TAC P in the Air Force, and then he got separated and like went back and became a Navy SEAL on a whim, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, and his whole philosophy is that people give up after 40%.
Yeah.
40% is where most people quit. And
I believe
they
it.
honestly believe that like
They're giving
they
it their
can't.
all.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
gave it 100,
Right.
and it's only 40%.
I believe it.
That's insane.
It is.
Because he goes and fucking does a real 100%. This guy on a whim for like charity decided he wanted to like run an ultra marathon and had never run an ultra marathon. And if you don't know what an ultra marathon is, it's 235 miles.
Wow.
And so he tried to do like sign up for one, and the guy that ran it was like, nah. And so he was like, you have to do a qualifier. You got like 4 weeks until my race. There's 2 qualifiers beforehand. Good luck. Like if you finish a qualifier, complete a qualifier, it wasn't even have to like place first. You just had to finish.
Right.
He was like, I'll consider letting you into my race. And this was to raise money for, remember the movie Lone Survivor, where the helicopter crashes and all those Navy SEALs died?
Yeah.
This guy was trying to raise money for those people.
Oh, I see.
So it was like a charity thing.
Yeah.
And this is what he came up with for a charity.
It was like this
And
race thing.
The most he had run, like, in the past 10 years was like a mile or some shit. He was like, I'm a gym rat, man. Just like yoked out, like super
Yeah.
ripped and jacked, like
Right.
260 some odd pounds or something like that. Like just a meathead that can't run. So this guy goes to a qualifier, and it's run 100 miles in 24 hours, and it's a mile track, and you just run around it until you hit 100 or run for the full 20 or 24 hours, right? This dude did like 60 some odd laps and like stopped and like pissed blood and shit himself, and like his legs stopped working and his body was like shutting down like to die. And he like crashed out, and his like wife's asking him if she needs to like take him to the hospital and this and that. He's like, nah, I just need a minute or something like that. And like willed himself back out onto the track and ran another 47 miles.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when he was like completely destroyed for real, and had to like, they were like driving him home or something, and she was going to take him to the hospital. He's like, no, just take me home and let me like get my shit together for like 20 minutes. And if like I still really, really feel bad, like then take me to the hospital. But he was just like, I didn't give a fuck. He was like, I was just so happy that I had finished this shit and pushed myself to this new limit that I didn't know was possible. Motherfucker ran 107 miles in 18 hours.
That's insanity.
That's so nuts, dude.
What does that even equal to, like, per mile? So
It's like
107
probably, he was probably running like a between 5 and 7 minute mile, maybe even less.
Yeah. 'Cause
Well,
that's
you got to
insanity.
think, what is that?
So if you ran a 5-minute mile, you could do 11 an hour.
11 in an hour.
And so that would be more than, so it's more than a 5-minute mile,
Yeah,
because that would only be like 11 hours
right.
or so. But if you did it 18 hours.
The guy also David Goggins, I think is what his name is. Yeah, he's got
Goggins.
a podcast on JRE, and
I'll have to check
yeah,
that one
that
out.
one's pretty mind blowing.
That's crazy.
He's a pretty crazy dude.
6 miles an hour?
He hates being called crazy, but he's like straight up certified crazy. Like you kind of have to be to do all that shit. He holds the record for most pull-ups in 24 hours or something too. Did like 6,000 or some shit. Actually, it was like more like 4,000, but he failed twice before to set the record. So in total, he did like 12,000 pull-ups or some shit.
Jeez. That's insane.
In a 24-hour period.
So, real quick, back to them. So
Yeah.
that would be 10 minutes each mile.
That's still.
That's really quick still.
Yeah.
I don't even think I could run a mile
I mean,
in that time.
you kind of would have to hold that. Like, even if you could run faster, you're going to want to run that pace so you don't burn out over,
Right.
like, the grand
Yeah.
scale of 100
But even
miles.
still, though, like that's 18 hours running at
Yeah.
that speed. That is
Yeah.
insane.
Some serious stamina.
I want to see
anyways,
that in the Olympics.
freak of nature,
Yeah.
right? Probably the only guy that could ever do that shit. But
Yeah.
he's saying, like, nothing special about him, and besides his mental, like,
Oh, but that's what I'm saying. I completely agree with that.
his whole mental state.
Like,
is
if you think about
crazy.
something that gets you excited versus something that doesn't,
Yeah.
how much more effort and energy do you put in what you're excited about versus what
Oh,
is not?
yeah. A shit ton.
Like, if it's, like, for example, we're currently painting our house,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very motivated and excited to get it done.
Yeah.
So every day when I get home from work, I tell my wife, I'm like, we'll just paint for 2 hours a day. And if that's essentially it's 2 hours or one wall. If we could do one wall a day,
Uh-huh.
and it's kind of like our living room, kitchen and stuff. So it's about 5-6 walls.
Right.
So I'm like, we'll be done in a week.
Right.
And so every day I get home and I start painting and I get the wall done and I'm like perfect, you know, and
Huh.
I'm not painting all night. I just clean up and then I get ready for bed or whatever, spend
Right.
time with my daughter and stuff. And it's like doing it. But then I have this piece of paper on my desk that I got from my doctor that I have to make an account for.
Yeah.
And they said, do it within 30 days.
Yeah.
And
You've
I'm
held it.
coming up on the 30th day. And it's as easy as literally just going and making the
Yeah.
account. You know?
Right.
So it doesn't, and I'm just like, I'll do it later. But
That's
so when you're
funny.
motivated about something,
Oh, yeah, for
even
sure.
as small as the task, we're doing dishes.
Yep.
I'm always like, I put the dish in. I'm like, there's only 2 in here right now. I should wash these so they don't pile up.
Right.
But I'm like, I'll do it later.
Yep.
And then later comes and I'm like, now it's a sink full of dishes. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there scrubbing like this sucks.
I read an article the other day that said 4 characteristics of a genius. And so the first one was insomnia. They stay up late. They're night owls.
Right.
The second one was procrastination.
Yeah.
They procrastinate everything.
Yep.
Third was they swear like sailors. And fourth was, shit, what was it?
Forgetfulness.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something else, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, man.
Was this in Cosmo or something?
Self-validating.
Yeah.
It was on
So you
Facebook,
just,
man.
it was the
Somebody
Facebook
else posted
article.
it, and I
Yeah.
was just like,
That's me.
interesting. I'm like,
I'm a genius. Whatever.
sound a lot like me.
Yeah. I firmly believe it's maybe, I don't know its exact percentages, so I'll just pick one out of the air. Like 80% of all people
Mm-hmm.
are geniuses, like at what they, if they want it to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I've seen some people.
One-track genius.
Yeah, one track genius. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're very good at one thing. You know what I mean? And I feel like, and then someone else might be very good at another thing and suck at that other thing.
Right.
And I feel like that's why we work as a species, because it's like we fit together. It's like, oh, you're strong here, well, I'm not. You know, like
Yeah.
let's work together there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I feel like that's really true, and that's why I always hate like, well, I'm smarter than you. It's
I
like
don't
probably
think that's the way to go.
like what?
Because I heard this dude talk last night in another podcast.
So it's just your life is podcast now.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Do you still play games a lot?
Yeah, a
Okay.
lot. A lot.
You sound like an addict.
So this
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah, play games a lot. Yeah.
like you said, one-track geniuses. So this guy, random podcast I picked out, because based off of the description of the podcast, you'd never know this guy was who he is.
Right.
And like, you wouldn't understand that this guy, I don't know. So he's a multi-track genius. So this guy's like Carl Sagan, Neil deGrasse Tyson, like Stephen Hawking level smart.
Like in astrophysics too, or
In
just
everything.
everything he does? Wow.
In everything.
See, that to me is really impressive.
Dude, the podcast is information overload because this dude, his story's really fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He had this weird, like, disorder where fatigue set in and he was bedridden for 15 years.
Wow.
Couldn't move. Like, the most energy he could muster was to get him out of bed to go to use the bathroom and then right back to bed for
What's his
15
name?
years. Bloom. Something Bloom.
It sounds very familiar. Like that story about someone being like
It is Howard Bloom.
Howard Bloom.
Howard Bloom was a publicist for like a bunch of rock bands. And like he's an author and he writes a bunch of books of like about crazy science shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was on JRE, and you just hearing this dude's story, and he's like graduating high school at like 12 or some shit,
Wow.
and like went to college really early, and then dropped out of college to go. Oh, what did he call him? There's somebody in the 60s that he was in search of. He was basically trying to be a roadie. He's a genius trying to find, man, he went to San Francisco, and I can't remember what he was looking for, but there was this group of people that he was looking for, and I think they were like basically hippies, but he was like the original hippie apparently. Yeah, and he wrote a book, how he accidentally started the 60s. Like,
That's pretty
nuts. But like, holds like a master's or a doctorate's degree, and like could have been a professor teaching like astrophysics and shit, like, or quantum physics is what his interest was in. And then one thing led to another, and he decided like he'd be pigeonholing himself if he became a professor, and that wasn't his ultimate goal. He wanted to like, he's on this ultimate quest for knowledge and shit.
Yeah.
As a genius, so he like understands all sorts of shit. And he's like breaking down like why Elon Musk is important to the space program, and he works with NASA, like developing shit for NASA. Like, this dude's all over the place.
Wow.
Publicist for like Styx and Billy Joel and fucking everyone in music from like 70s, 80s, and 90s. This
So
dude
when
was
was
the
he?
publicist
When
for
was he bedridden?
1988.
Yeah.
1988
For
till like
15 years.
2000.
Correct. Till
4.
2000 something, yeah. 3?
2000.
2001, I think it was.
Right? Pretty nuts. Like, weird disease thing that, like,
Chronic fatigue syndrome.
yeah.
Dang.
There's no way to test for it. It doesn't even seem real.
Is that something you discovered by insurance? Like, could I just like get that?
I think he talks about it. He
I
talks
have
about
chronic
it.
fatigue.
That's what he talks about. He had to find like a specialist and then convince somebody, like insurance company, that it was a real thing.
Wow.
And then like the doctor couldn't help him. He just put him in touch with another patient of his so they could share information on how they deal with it. Because like that few people have it.
Like Coke or something? Like, would that balance him out?
Dude, he
Like,
tells
that
him,
bring
he says what he like gets a shot of every day, and it was, fuck, man. It was like magnesium or something, and then it was B12 essentially, and then
He developed the disease.
this other fucking thing.
What do you mean developed? Like he came up, like he's the one that was like, this is a real thing and people probably suffer from it, like globally or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
First one to make it public kind of thing.
Yeah, so, well, yeah, because he was like a pretty well-known dude.
Right.
Yeah. And so I can't remember what the third ingredient was, but he was saying it was like this chemical that your body creates, and like it's the same chemical that's released, how did he describe it? When a mother holds her baby up to her nipple for the first time, that sensation that like she feels, like, and the chemicals that are released in that moment, like of utter bliss and enjoyment, like, you know, because like, I'm nursing this life,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
You're
Like,
providing
like-
sustainable life source.
that chemical that's released in your body is what he injects himself with every day. So I could see why he's full of energy now.
Yeah.
Coupled with B12.
Rintatolimod?
What?
Rintatolimod? Something?
Yeah, probably.
Like some of the medications that they use.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So it was pretty nuts, and this dude's like insane genius,
Yeah.
like
but
freak of nature.
multi-genius. And,
Yeah, and he was talking some pretty wild shit. You'd like it.
Yeah.
He's a pretty hardcore atheist, though, from what I can tell.
Doesn't bother me.
No, I know it doesn't bother you, but I'm just saying, like,
I don't care.
he explains it away with science, and he makes some pretty good arguments.
Yeah, I think for the most part, like I've you know, I'm always curious about people,
Mhm.
like, and I always find fascination in like a lot of different belief systems or whatever, and it's just always funny to me, like if you start talking through it, like that, usually the conversation will start off strong, like, well, this is why, but eventually when you start debunking everything through like facts and stuff,
Right.
eventually it just gets to like, well, it's just faith, you just got to believe.
God, I hate that
And
fucking
then
argument.
and then it's just like, eh.
Yeah, all right.
So I think
yeah,
on
yeah.
some level, like most people who are even believers, like they know it's like BS.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, I have always done this way.
Right. They're
And
just so
it
set
gets
in their
me.
ways.
It gets me involved in my community.
It's easier to just stay involved rather than change.
An object in motion stays in motion.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, somebody was making some pretty strong arguments the other day and like kind of pointing out like paradoxes and like religious arguments, like how they just like they got it covered.
Yeah.
Like thousands of years of practice, they've developed
yeah.
these like things and like so he's like somebody it was Harlow. He was like explaining it to me and like going on saying like all these different crazy scenarios, and it was kind of about morality, and I came to like the moral conclusion without like prior to the story that he was telling, or it was really
Right.
apparent to me. And then I'm sitting there like explaining it like, oh yeah, that's the moral lesson to be gained from this. And then in like those like little snippets, fuck man, he was really good at rattling them off because they're like Bible quotes.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, man, I wish I could think of an example, but I can't.
So we'll just need to get Harlow on the
Anyway,
podcast.
yeah, he like throws it out there, and it's like this. You've heard it a million times in your life saying that like explains that morality, and I'm just like, you motherfuckers got it all covered, don't you? Like, you sly bastards.
Well, I always find it funny too that it's like their arguments at the time always kind of match like what is going on in society.
Yeah, it's a very
Like-
well constructed
Like nowadays they say, oh, the Bible does explain evolution, but it didn't before we knew about evolution.
right.
You know, so
yeah.
why don't you guys ever present this stuff first? And that would really strengthen your case.
Right.
Versus trying to come in after the fact and be like, this is how it fits in, everybody. Or
Yeah.
there's the son that says, like, that's all lies.
Right. We were talking about the Council of Nicaea and how like he called the Council of Nicaea was like getting rid of the chaff. And I said, is there even such a thing as chaff in religious text? Like, can you say that? Is that not blasphemous? Like, that there's like too much extra bullshit. They were
Yeah.
just cutting out the bullshit, you know?
But they've done that
I don't think that's how
multiple times.
that works.
Yeah, they've been doing that multiple times.
Like, no one else does that.
Oh, everyone does that. They've done it to the Bible.
I don't think anybody's fucking changed the Quran.
I would imagine to
I don't
Muhammad.
Think, I don't think so. The Quran started with Muhammad.
That's what I'm saying. I think he probably.
No one's fucked with that
Oh,
since then.
then?
They interpret it different, but
Ye-
they
well,
don't change. They
yeah.
don't pull out text
Yeah,
and say, "Nah, we don't need this anymore." Only Christianity's.
but
doing
I don't
that.
think it started. I think it
Buddhism,
was a book.
Hindu. They don't.
Judaism
do that
has a
shit.
Quran as well.
Judaism is called the Torah, or their Bible is the Torah. It's the Old Testament.
Yeah, there's something else like the Quran is shared through a couple different ones. I think the Quran was like
They all recognize, so the Quran recognizes Jesus as a
As a
prophet,
person,
but he's not.
not
He's not the fucking
Savior.
He's not savior.
right. It's
Yeah.
not savior status.
Right, and the
yeah.
Jews don't recognize.
No, I know that.
Jesus.
Well, yeah, they killed him. So
Yeah, but that's what's funny is like
shots
I
fired.
said-
Is it too soon?
I said.
Spoiler alert. Sorry,
Spoiler
my bad.
alert.
I mean,
Oh, the guy, the Bloom guy, he makes a really. I didn't realize he was talking about Jesus when he first said it, but he was talking about like, yeah, fucking guy like 1,000 years or 2,000 years ago, running around in this holy city and trying to tell people that the end is coming, and then he goes and tells the Romans the end is coming, and then they sit around and wait for the clock to strike this time, and nothing happens, and then the Romans are like, "You're fucking crazy," and nailed him to a cross in front of everybody, in between a thief and a liar.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how that fucking whole story
Yeah.
ended.
In a
Like,
nutshell.
yeah, in a nutshell. Dude's like, "Oh yeah, my dad's coming to town."
Yeah.
His dad never showed up because he's a bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biological dad.
Oh, look what happened to you, guy. See, you get your hopes up for your dad getting nailed to a cross. Nope, shit.
Oh man.
How'd that work out? And then he's like explaining how like Paul, the apostle Paul or whatever, was like the smart motherfucker who like dipped out and was like, "Yeah, man, you're cool, Jesus. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
You go ahead and tell the Romans that shit. See what happens. I'm gonna go over here." And then he's like, "Yeah, he didn't have any problems with spreading the word to the rest of the whole world. You know what I mean? But he wasn't sticking around when Jesus was going through his tough time." I mean, it's cool though, because 3 days later he came back and
Right.
like,
I read this one thing recently that was like, stop saying Jesus died for your sins. He died and then came back to life 3 days later. He gave up your weekend for your sins.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty funny.
He gave up a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, he just gave up a 3-day weekend. But I don't know. It is pretty funny. But I just think like once people have that belief, there's no, you can't. It's a lose-lose argument. Like because if you argue your points and it doesn't matter, they're always going to be like, nope, I don't believe that. And so it's kind of like,
I don't
who cares?
understand that like reasoning.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing. It's like if I really like a certain store, and you're like, no, dude, that like so as an example, I'll just use a recent thing with like a rental car service.
Yeah.
I cannot stand Enterprise.
They're pretty bad.
Yeah,
they're not good.
And it's like what's it, United? Like it's pretty unanimous at this point. Like, you know, no one really likes them.
They don't actually pick you up.
Yeah, I know that.
Motherfuckers.
I asked them that. I'm like, hey, don't you guys pick us up? And like, well, we could probably be there in like 40 minutes. I'm like, 40 minutes? I could walk there in that time.
What?
Like that's not really convenient for me.
We'll pick you up.
Yeah.
Shit.
But,
false advertising.
So I've had 2 bad experiences with them, and I said I'm never using them again.
Yeah. So who'd you switch to?
I've been having really good luck with Avis. And
Avis and Budget are the same people.
Are they? Because Budget, not good.
Correct.
Avis has been decent.
You know who we use?
So like at PDX,
for all of our travel is National. They're
National.
good.
Yeah, we've used them. They're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
But like whenever we go to PDX, that's the Portland airport, by the way. Like you probably get it because you travel a lot, but people are like, "What's
No, I don't
PDX?
know Portland.
Okay, but when we go to Portland, they have Avis there at the airport.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd do Budget because we're like, oh, we'll try Budget, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
They shuttle you from the airport 6 miles off site to some like janky building to get you your car, and then you have to return it there and then get shuttled back when it becomes available.
That's annoying.
So I was like, yeah, we're not going to do Budget again either. And also too, like the lady was like super rude. The car was like,
yeah, they are sometimes.
like it was just like this crappy car that we got. Every time we rented through Avis, it's always like the high end trim of that car.
Yeah.
Like they don't care. They don't try to sell you. At least in my experience, they haven't tried to sell special.
The perk of National is that I think if you join their like, it's free to sign up for their rewards program, and once I think you get to like even the first tier, Emerald status or whatever it is with them, you don't even have to talk to anybody. They leave all the keys in the cars, and you just go pick which one you want and drive off.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you like hand them your shit from inside the car, like as you're pulling out of the parking lot. It's really fast.
Yeah.
And you get to pick whatever you want.
Well, that's also why I like Avis. So Enterprise, like they walk around, they have that thing on their belt, like to print it out, and they're like, let's go over all these little dings, you know, and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that because what was that place? It was Hertz, right? Where they're like, all right, the windshield looks good. And I'm like, what about this giant crack right here? And she kind of laughed it off. And then she like looks, she's like, oh yeah, there is a giant crack right there. I'm like, yeah, the one that I showed you. Like it wasn't a joke. So that was kind of good in that sense. Because then I told Jarrell, I was like, well, we could take a hammer to the windshield at this point. Hey, that's how, that clearly says the crack in the windshield. Yeah. But Avis is pretty quick. Like
that's good.
Like
that's the key.
Haven't had many issues. Like it's in and out. Like Budget was quick too, but like I said, the lady was really just like, I don't know. And that's another thing too. I'm judging a whole company based on one individual.
Yeah.
But Enterprise, I even had like their regional manager call and say like, look, we've done things differently. We've implemented mandatory training and sensitivity stuff. And I was like, perfect, thanks. You know.
Yeah.
Tried it again, same exact experience.
So how does this relate to religion?
Because people that like make their decisions like early on, like they pick a thing, like they pick a side. Yeah. So it's like, I hate Enterprise. Even if you were to come to me and be like, look at all these facts, Enterprise is the best. I'd be like, nope, I hate them. I'll never rent from Enterprise. But but what about here? Like their rated number, like unbiased, like whatever blind study proves that they're like, no, I don't care. It's like, okay, but we have proof that Avis tortures children. It's like, they're good to me. I don't care. And that's kind of like what it is with religion. Yeah. Like there's those that have like let's call it the come to Jesus moment when you realize that he's not real. And then
that's a coming to Jesus moment. That's the opposite.
What? Yeah, when you come to Jesus, it's like a realization, like.
Yeah, that Jesus is real and he's your savior and all that shit.
But that's what I'm saying. Like my come to Jesus moment was like when I came to Jesus and he wasn't there. I was like, I see.
What are you doing coming on Jesus? All right, that's kind of gross.
Well, I mean,
he's a corpse.
Yeah, I mean, don't judge, right?
Everyone gets
in today's day and age. like that South Park episode when they're like singing their songs because like they make a Christian rock band. It was like the producer guy at this Christian rock station or whatever. He's like, it seems like you boys are in love with Jesus. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, it says I want to walk hand in hand with Jesus on a private beach for 2. I want him to nibble on my ear and say, I'm here for you. It's like, what's the difference? You love Jesus? You're in love with Jesus? Isn't it all the same? So, but that's pretty funny.
You don't love Jesus? No, I love Jesus.
Yeah. What are you saying? You don't love Jesus? But yeah. So, but I think that's what it is. It's like some people, it's like you tell them facts, it's like, whatever. It works for me.
They just
They
know
just
how to
do
filter facts, man.
Well, and it's like I think some of them filter facts, and others are just like, yeah, that makes sense, but I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's too hard to change.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, like when
So
you hear
fucking
things
weird.
like I think one of the biggest problems like bro facts, like religion was based on bro facts. That it's like, well, this has been going on for 2,000 years. It's like, yeah, but a lie that goes on for 2,000 years doesn't suddenly make
It's
it
not
truth.
a truth.
It's still a lie.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of also in the
Right.
mix, you know. It's like, well, why do you do this way? It's like, oh, because my mother did it that way.
Right.
Like, I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were telling me about like cutting a loaf of bread. And they said that they would always cut off the ends of the loaf of bread when they would cook it or something to that effect.
Okay.
That's smart.
And then like then they taught it to their daughter and they said, well, why do you cut off the ends of the bread? It's like, I don't know. My mom always did it. And so they finally asked the mom, it's like, oh, because our bread pan was too short for the full loaf of bread. Like it had nothing to do with, it was just what would fit. And so it's like that kind of thing over thousands of years. And realistically, it's less than that because it's been changed so many times.
Council of Nicaea.
That we're just kind of looking at it like at this current time frame.
Right.
Like we like to think, back to 2000. It's like, well, actually, it was probably like back to like the 1500s. Like was the last like major change.
Dude,
And,
you look at Mormonism, that's like 1800s.
yeah. And that was like a new book.
Yeah, like a New Testament.
Because I think the story for there is like after Jesus came back to life from his resurrection, he left with the Nephites to America.
He was on a 3-day vacation to America.
Yeah. It took him a while from my understanding. But we don't know because the book of Lehi was lost.
Dude, I watched the Book of Mormon recently.
Did you?
I went to the play. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was another thing we need to talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
too.
yeah. The Book of Mormon. Fucking fantastic play.
So was it
musical?
Right. Was it? Where'd you see it at?
The Tucson.
Oh, it was in Tucson?
Yeah, it was at the university.
Who was the cast? Is it still like the...
So it's there's 2 casts. There's the Broadway cast, and then there's the off-Broadway, the traveling.
Okay.
There's still Broadway level like singers and dancers and all that shit.
I just think like Josh Gad was in it and on the Broadway one, so he probably wasn't in the...
Yeah, I don't know any of the people that were in it like on Broadway, so I don't know.
Okay.
These people were really fucking good though.
Yeah.
Like mind-blowingly good.
So
that
they
was
were
like
in
one
Tucson?
of the first plays I'd seen in probably over 10 years.
Wow. And it was...
And I've only ever seen like Shakespeare plays, like The Tempest.
From
and
what I've
fucking
heard
Much
from
Ado
like
About
interviews
Nothing.
with like Trey Parker and Matt Stone is that they say that they get a bunch of Mormons going and they love it.
Yeah,
too.
They clearly do not fucking understand what's going on. Like they have to be completely.
But I think that's the problem with Mormons is they're just too nice.
Dude.
Like they're like Canadians, like Canadians.
They're
just
unsincere Canadians.
Yeah.
Insincere.
I don't know. I think I've met a lot of Mormons that are just like they're super nice people.
Dude, are you sure?
I'm positive.
I think they're. I know what kind you're talking
There's
about.
definitely
and I
kinds
think you'd
that
be
try to
surprised how
pretend
many of these fuckers like
are Jack Mormons
in the privacy of their own house.
Yeah, what they do
they're
in the
like,
house, none of my business.
Well, no, but I'm just saying like they're super nice in public and like
monsters to like their families.
like demons.
Yeah, I could see that.
Not open-minded,
well, like
not nice, not friendly.
In
like,
Snowflake, how like every single bishop's daughter gets pregnant, so it's like clearly the home life isn't too great.
Right.
But
yeah, so the play fucking phenomenal, but literally there's some like some of the songs like I don't know how any Mormon would be even allowed to go watch that shit, dude. I'm like sitting here, they're talking about fucking God gave us AIDS and shit, like because they're Africans and it's nuts, dude.
Wow.
It's fucking nuts.
Well, isn't there
and
like
the song is called "Fuck You God."
I was gonna say, isn't there a song?
Yeah. Fuck you God.
And they're like the missionaries are singing it in like their native language, and then they tell them what it translates to or whatever.
It's the natives singing
Right,
it in their, and then
Right.
he's like, yeah, this means fuck
Right.
you, and this means God.
Yeah.
So fuck you God. The guy's just like, what?
Yeah.
It's so damn funny.
That's pretty funny.
Really good. I'm not a huge fan of musicals, but I would see that a million times in a row.
I
It's
really like their
fucking great.
musicals that they do. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Cannibal the musical,
No.
but it's pretty funny.
I think I'd like that.
It's a Trey Parker, Matt Stone
Julie's
one.
like, you want to go watch Cats? I'm like, fuck no. What do you
Nope.
think this is? Like, I'm not going, like, Grease? I hate Grease. I hate, like, musicals. Not a fan.
I like
But
musicals.
the Book of Mormon.
The musical we
yeah.
just saw recently that's actually really good is The Greatest Showman
Dude,
with-
okay.
with Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron.
So, I watched the Book of Mormon, and it changed my mind about it. Made me more receptive to musicals.
There you
so
go,
I was
being
like,
open.
So I was like, you know what? Let's watch a couple musicals.
This is why right here you can never be a good religious follower.
So what
because
do
you
I
have an
do?
open mind.
Julie brings home. Her boss gave her Blu-rays of Coco and what's the other one? The Book of Life. So we watched those. Both musicals, both fucking really good.
Yeah,
Also,
Coco's not really a musical.
Disney
but-
Pixar.
Yeah,
Coco's not a musical.
not in a traditional sense, because there's a lot of like
It's a Disney movie. They're all fucking musicals.
they're all like singing. Yeah, they have
Come on,
songs
bro.
and stuff.
They're all musicals.
I wouldn't classify it as a classical musical. Like High School Musical is more of a musical than like Aladdin is,
Dude, every Disney movie is a musical.
but not.
There's like 5 major tracks that come out of every Disney movie.
Finding Nemo's not.
Original songs.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah, Finding Nemo is not.
like
It is not. That is a good point. It's one of the only ones, man.
fair. That's
We could
fair.
go through a shitload.
Up is not a musical.
Up, dude. What a sad fucking movie.
Just the
It
first, like,
starts
15
out
minutes.
sad.
I know,
man.
dude. Destroys.
No, the whole movie, because then he finally gets there, and it was like he had that realization moment that their dream was always to get to like this amazing thing to have adventures.
Mm-hmm.
But his whole life was a bunch. Like I'm getting like teary. Like his whole life with his wife was a bunch of
Right,
adventures,
right.
you know. And so, oh man, that movie.
So
Hate that.
I
movie.
watched The Greatest Showman. So yeah, I watched The Greatest Showman.
Yeah,
Fucking great, dude.
Yeah, I know, I like
Some of
that.
the songs in that are really
they're
good.
so catchy too.
Yeah.
Like the one where at the bar or whatever.
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
shot
I
glass
really like that
choreography, I
one,
was like,
yeah.
oh man, it's so good.
Hugh Jackman's a fucking good dude.
Yeah.
I like him.
I-
Did you hear? I was told on the way here that Morgan Freeman's in trouble.
Yep. Sex harassment scandal.
Yeah. Lifting up skirts and fucking making inappropriate comments.
Well, he is God,
He is God. Touche. Touche. He's God, people.
so
He's God. Cut him some
man,
slack.
It just sucks. It's like everyone. So here's I know we talked
Yeah.
about this before, but do you did like because who was it? Louis C.K. So we really like the movie Secret Life of Pets,
Okay.
and he's the voice of the main character dog in that.
All right. Yeah, I've seen
So
that.
do you discredit the like? Do you say we're not watching the movie now because he's a complete scumbag?
No.
Like you can separate the
No, no,
person
no.
from like the
Yeah,
actor,
no.
right? Because his character in
That's
the
like
movie.
me saying, what's his
It was a
fucking
dog,
nuts?
so
What's
it
what's
kinda
the
fits,
what's the
but-
dude that got Harvey Weinstein?
Yeah, I don't like that guy at all though.
Yeah, dude, complete scumbag.
'cause he's a
but guess
producer.
what? There's a lot of fucking movies that were produced by his production company.
By his
like,
company.
So
Like, not
yeah,
necessarily
well,
him.
ipso facto, if you fucking want to boycott him, you'd boycott all of his movies.
Right.
I'm not fucking doing that. That's
No.
stupid.
I
That's
mean, I'm
stupid.
definitely thinking he needs to like go to jail.
Oh, prison for the rest. Probably. Well, did he never?
you know that
raped
scene
anyone, right?
I think he did though. I think he like. I don't think he did like where it was like they were saying no. I think, but he used his power to influence young women into definitely doing
right.
stuff.
I mean,
I mean,
that kind of shit doesn't hold up in court, though.
that's true because technically it's consent.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
It's still a scumbag move.
he's super scumbag. Don't
Right.
fucking get me
Well,
wrong.
so it's
I
more
feel
so like that scene from Little Nicky with Hitler, where every day it's like he has to pick out a pineapple.
Hitler's punishments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like something that needs to happen to him.
Yeah,
Like you don't
for
have to go to
sure.
jail, but
For
every
sure.
day show up here You're gonna pick out a
and,
fresh pineapple.
and like 10 chicks get to punch you in the fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So I don't think the pineapple would fit, to be honest.
Oh, you'd make it fit.
Rough.
Oh yeah. You can
That's the punishment.
Yep.
Is you make it
you
fit.
make it fit.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting punched in the nuts, question that was posed on the FBs in one of my secret groups that I have with other people, and it was, are there rules in fights? Like in a street fight, should there be rules, or are there no rules? Is it like known that there's no rules?
I think if it's a
If there
street
isn't-
fight, like there's no rules.
No rules.
It's whatever
right?
it takes to
win and
to
live.
win and live. Yeah. Like if it was like a boxing match or UFC,
Correct. Not that.
they
Street
have
fight,
rules. Street fight,
potentially to the death.
potentially, yeah, no rules. Especially if you don't know the person.
Right.
Like I think if like you know them, like if they're family, there's probably some no death
Yeah.
rule.
Don't kill each
Don't
other.
kill them.
Right.
Get out your beef
But
and then
punching them in the dick is fine.
perfectly legal.
Yeah.
100%.
Gouging their eye.
Because
possibly.
there's always
You got 2 of those.
going to be like an unfair advantage.
Right.
You're never going to get people in the same weight limit, the same training
oh, yeah,
experience.
for sure.
So you might have someone like me going up against someone who's a real man, and I would just die, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
so I have to do whatever I
punch him
can.
in the dick.
Oh,
run.
straight for it.
Yeah.
Jordan would bite it.
I would bite it
Oh,
off.
dude, I'd
I wouldn't even
fucking-
care at that
Like
point.
Kobayashi.
Yeah. Although Dave Chappelle, I think it's Dave Chappelle,
So turn
Has-
that up a notch.
has a real funny one though, real quick, where
Yeah,
he
yeah.
says like if he's ever about to get in a fight, it's like if you just pull like your dick out and just start jerking off. Like they'd be like, I'm gonna kick your ass. Are you? And then it's like,
There's a funny
Whoa.
There's a
Yeah,
funny
Blue Mountain
YouTube
State.
video.
was that Blue Mountain
mascot
State?
guy. He's the
I
one
feel
that's-
like Dave Chappelle had a sketch like that on the
Yeah,
Dave
yeah.
Chappelle show.
There's
I
a
thought it was a Blue
there's a
Was it in Blue
YouTube
Mountain State?
video of
Anyway,
this dude
it's just
that
pretty funny.
he's dressed in normal clothes and he runs up to random dudes on the street like, "You want to go, motherfucker?" And then he just starts taking off all of his fucking clothes and stripping and gets down into like one of those Borat Speedo things.
Right.
And the dudes are just like, "What the fuck is wrong?" And like they start running away and shit. He's like,
Yeah.
"I thought you wanted to fight, man."
I think like that would be my approach. Like I would just get. You have to win on another field.
Yeah.
You know, like how far are you willing to go
All right.
to not
I would do that.
get
I
whooped?
would do that.
Yeah. Plus the story that guy would have, be like, dude, I was gonna go beat this ass one time. Man, he just like started taking off his clothes. I didn't know what to do.
Pour oil over himself.
He was one of them queers you hear about.
Yeah, right. So then the question was posed: should there be rules in war?
There are
There are rules in
there
war,
are
but
rules.
should there be rules in war? And are we
No.
at a disadvantage
Yes.
because we follow rules
well,
in
100% we are at a disadvantage because
And-
we follow rules in war.
war? Does
I think
torture fall into that same category?
I kind of thought that this was going, so I kind of feel like
Yeah.
that there has to be. I think is like, you know, what you would do is like your lowest moment. You know what I mean? Because if you have someone else that they're willing, like, you know, suicide bombers or whatever, clearly
Yeah.
they're willing to commit
they're committed.
everything.
They're fucking committed.
How much are we willing to commit to that?
Right.
And does taking someone and putting them in some sort of situation where they may or may not know something and you torture them, because I've read these things recently, but obviously they're going to be biased towards whichever.
Yeah, lay them on me. I'll debunk them.
Like torture has never yielded any sort of valuable intel that has led to any
physical torture.
physical torture has
Yes.
never led to any sort of like advancement or upper hand of an operation because they had that
Probably
intel.
true.
Yeah.
Physical torture.
Physical torture. And so like you see things in like 24.
And by physical by physical torture I mean like ripping your fingernails off.
yeah,
and
hooking bamboo
dismembering
sticks and
you or
know,
shoving
take, like the
bamboo.
one I was going to use from like 24 is he takes the drill and he drills holes
Yeah,
into them.
correct.
Like I think at that point anyone will tell you whatever you want to hear.
to make it stop.
Yeah, and that at that
We
point
know
you might
this.
not know it,
This
might
is,
not be good
This is a
intel.
known thing.
Okay, so I think physical torture is kind of like we probably don't need to stoop to that level.
Right.
But I think there could be some form of like what was that movie? It was a really bad movie, The Punisher, where he's like trying to find intel, and so he tells him, he's like, "This torch is so hot that when I do it, it's gonna
Oh,
feel
yeah,
really
yeah, and he
cold,
rubs that fucking
and you're gonna smell
popsicle
burning."
on him.
And he rubs the popsicle while he's like frying
That's
the
the
meat.
good Punisher, man.
So-
that's the good one.
I didn't like that movie.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's Thomas Jane, dude.
Yeah, it just.
Oh my
I wasn't
gosh.
feeling it. That was also came out pre.
He's
like,
the real Punisher, to be
superhero
honest
movies.
with you.
It-
He's
like-
the real Punisher, in my opinion.
Really? Well,
yeah.
maybe we give him another
The
shot.
new guy is great, but
Yeah.
I really would have loved Thomas Jane to be the
Netflix
Punisher in
one?
like the Marvel universe. Yeah, yeah, the Netflix one with Shane from The Walking Dead as the guy. Yeah, it's good.
But like that kind
on
of stuff,
track.
like that is he wasn't really getting hurt. He just
Psychological
thought
torture.
he was.
Correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that seems fair.
It is.
Like
It is fair.
I don't think that I have a problem with
I
that.
don't think waterboarding's torture.
I think waterboarding would be physical torture because people could drown from that.
Only
But-
if you let them. Only if you
So you
let
got to
them
be
drown.
skilled. But that was one of the problems,
That's
though, right?
that's the thing, though.
Is that you have people conducting this stuff that wasn't
They
trained.
are skilled. Who?
I don't know. I'm
Talking
making
about
it
the
up.
thing with-
I'm
with
trying
Tim
to
Kennedy?
play
Talking
the
about Tim
other-
Kennedy?
I don't even know what that
The guy
means.
that was wearing like at a barbecue and was like getting waterboarded for a Q&A. Did you
Oh.
see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's Tim Kennedy.
But like, you don't know if like I don't know. To me, that seems very like physical torture, because
It's the gray area in between.
Yeah.
It's like that halfway yes, halfway no. Because they're not going to drown unless you want them to drown. I mean, if you wanted them to drown, you'd just submerge their head in a bucket of water,
Right.
not pour the bucket of water on their head.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They get water in their mouth and in their sinuses and stuff like that, and it simulates the effects of drowning. But as soon as they're able to breathe and recover, they're fine. It's like no lasting damage to them.
But I think like that stems
It's
more.
the
It's a gray area.
Anxiety that's inflicted
Right.
by their body thinking that they're
They're
gonna
drowning.
die. Yeah.
Well, I think that, like you said, like that probably falls in the gray area, but that's where we, as like a society or civilization or a nation, really
Right.
has to say it. Because in other countries, you know, I've seen videos of people just getting decapitated on the side of the
Correct.
road.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
they're not following any sort of
That's the argument that's made.
Guidelines
Is
or
by
rules.
comparison, we are very humane in
Right.
waterboarding
But
somebody.
at the same time, we also live in a country where people have a voice and a platform.
Right.
And so we can be more vocal about we don't agree with that.
Correct.
Versus other countries, they know if they
So-
say something, they're going to get their heads cut off. So they don't like it, but they don't say anything about it.
Should the general public be able to influence the way the military operates in a time of war?
Yeah, and so
like that.
and that's what's hard too, is because this is where I have like a split opinion that contradict one another.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that with all sort of military action and stuff, I think that the general public should have no knowledge of that whatsoever.
Right.
I think you need
They need to be separate.
They need that anonymity, and they need it to be
They need-
top
they
secret.
need
to be
autonomy, too.
Yeah, and autonomy to be able to make those decisions and do what needs to be done.
Right.
And we don't need to know about it. You know?
Correct.
It's a need to know basis.
There's a shitload that people don't know, and
Right.
they just so happen to know we waterboard people all
The
of a
only
sudden.
reason that we are able to go out, get in our car, drive to the ice cream shop, go to the store, browse through the aisles of all these groceries and stuff is because of all of the bad stuff that people had to do, and not necessarily even bad stuff, but like we would deem it as bad
Right.
nowadays. Like I know back in the day, like during like the Revolutionary War, it literally was like you would line up and you would take turns shooting,
Yeah.
and then you'd be done for the day and you would just camp right there
Yeah.
next to each other.
Right.
And you're like, all right, war's done for the day.
Yep.
See you
Gentleman's
tomorrow.
agreement.
Yeah. And I think that nowadays, if that were to happen, you would have someone who would sneak over and like take out their best or sabotage or something. you
We'd
know?
never even show up for that stand in a line fight.
Right. Or we'd
we'd
send-
wait for the other team to line up, and then they'd be like, "Oh, I guess they're not showing up today. We're
Airstrike
camping," and then we're like in the dead of night with slippers on and go and slash all their throats, and then they wake up to a horrific bloody scene, and
Yeah.
all the people. We'd only have to kill like half of them, just make it look really really bad, and the other half would leave.
That's
They'd
what I'm
run away
saying.
in fear.
You do that, you save more lives that way.
Yeah.
And I think
Stealth,
I
covert
think that's a
approach.
hard thing too with it, is that it's so hard to quantify something that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So if you say by taking out this one person, we're going to save 1 million lives.
Right.
It's you can't ever. It's like Minority Report. You're convicting someone of something that they haven't done yet. But how do you know that that's really going to pay out that way?
Right.
Because do you let 1 million people die and then say,
Right.
now can we go take out that one
Right,
person?
right.
You know what I mean? And so
Exactly.
it's really hard in that regard. Everyone always everyone wants to be like a Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
oh, well, if you just would have done this, it's like, well, try being in the room at the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like there was circumstances that were going on that we didn't
Right.
have the luxury
Right.
to get a
It's all
task
about the
force together
context of the
and get
situation.
a bipartisan group together to be like, all right, everyone, let's vote on this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
exactly.
you don't always get those opportunities.
No.
And when you have all the time in the world to review a previous incident,
Right.
it's the same thing with like cops that shoot suspects or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, well, why did they shoot him like so many times? Like, why didn't they shoot him in the leg or something? You know,
You'd
Like,
shoot him that many
try-
times too.
right?
Oh shit, he's gonna fucking kill me.
Right. And my dad, who is a
Just
trained
pulling the fucking trigger.
a trained police officer, says like, so two things. One, they teach you to always aim for the biggest mass point.
Yeah.
You try to shoot for a
center
leg.
mass. Yep.
You can hit someone else, you could miss,
Yeah.
and then you could put yourself or someone else in danger. And two, the objective is always to limit or stop the threat.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to shoot once and be like, let me evaluate the situation,
Oh, I
it's
popped off a round.
unload until they're down.
Yeah.
And so it's like but again, like it's not black and white. Like there's definitely bad police officers.
Oh yeah.
Who
for
do
sure.
bad
Shooting
stuff.
people in the back while they're
Right. And then plant a taser on them and
Right,
stuff. Like
right.
we get it. That guy he's an a-hole.
It's not
quite
every
frankly.
case. Yeah.
Right. But that's not every time it happens. You don't instantly have to assume, oh, see, the police are corrupt. And
Right.
So the same thing with like the war thing. I think that they need to have those decisions to make that, to keep us safe. I personally like having the freedoms that we have, and people always like, they always post on Facebook. It's like the best way to like herd sheep is tell them that they're free or whatever. And it's like, you know what? Maybe,
Probably.
and maybe that is the best way. Like, but it works. Like
Yeah.
I do have the personal freedom to go to the store when I want to.
Yeah.
Like I don't have someone going downtown like saying curfew's in, you get in your house and like, block it
Right.
up. I can go on the internet and like tell someone I disagree with that and
Yeah.
don't have to worry about like getting arrested
Or murdered.
or murdered.
Kill squad
Because
comes
where
in
was
your
that
house.
country where like there was a pop singer who made a music video, and because it was suggestive because she was wearing like a bikini, she is doing like 2 years in jail, or at least that's where it was when it like was when it was going on.
Probably like Iran or something.
Something like that. Yeah. But could you imagine? Like I could go
It
out,
has to be Middle Eastern
Right,
country because
somewhere-
that's the only
right,
people that are
that's
taking
still,
offense
like,
to like
yeah.
that kind of shit
but just because it was suggestive,
in that way.
it was jail time.
Yeah.
Like I could make a video
You
of
weren't
me in
wearing
a
your
thong
fucking burqa. Put your burqa back
with
on.
a garden hose, and yeah, no one would want to see that, but I wouldn't go to jail for it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So I think like people always like to say, "Oh, we think we're free, and we're really not. We're living this."
We're fucking super free.
I think
by comparison.
I think you're as free as you can be while also getting the protection without having to worry about like someone just kicking down your door and be like, "This is my stuff now. By the way, I'm killing you and
Right.
keeping your wife and your daughter as like my sex slaves."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a fine line.
It is.
So,
it's a juggling act.
do you
man.
wanna be
Or a
like
balancing act?
The Purge and utter chaos and anything goes.
Kinda, yeah. dude.
I mean,
Yeah,
or
dude.
no, I mean like every day is like that sort of
Kinda
lifestyle. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, some people, or do you want to be completely dictatorship? They tell you how to like.
If it's the right dictator, I have no problem with it.
I mean,
I'm gonna do my thing
some
regardless.
people. But if you couldn't do your thing, like,
I've-
what if
I've
what if
worked it
wearing
out
that
so
shirt was
I do
illegal?
my
What
thing.
if your tattoos are illegal and now you're going to do jail until you get rid of them?
Oh, I guess I'm a murderer now.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Anyone that tries to come take me, they're gonna get killed.
but in some countries, they don't have any ways. Like, we have access to guns.
Yeah.
Some countries don't.
Yeah.
And cops show up or military shows up with rifles, and all you have is like maybe a couple steak knives.
Yeah.
You're not doing
Guess
much
you're gonna
damage.
have to some
You're
fucking
not gonna
MacGyver
John
shit.
Wick
You're
your
gonna
way
have
out
to
of that
MacGyver
way.
your fucking way out of that one.
Yeah,
Don't ever forget about MacGyver, man. It's a real dude.
it's just a real dude.
He's a real dude.
He's a real guy. Those were facts.
Yeah, this is based on a true story.
Those were just it was just dumbing down scenarios that he
Everything's
actually
based on
did.
a true story.
In some
Didn't
way
you
or
know
another.
this?
Yeah, if it's on the internet, it must be true.
That is 100% accurate.
I read that on the internet.
Oh yeah.
So, but I think that that's part of the problem too, is that people then, think like, well, the government just has to control. We don't want them involved in this, this, and this. Or it's
Yeah.
like, if they're lying to us about this, what else are they lying to us about?
Yeah.
And then it starts on that slippery road, because I don't think that, like, I'm all for like limited government.
Yeah.
Like, I like less government personally,
Right.
less regulations and stuff,
Yeah. Less taxes.
less taxes. Because if you have less that you're paying for,
Yeah, you get
in
more
all
in
these
your
other
own pocket.
branches of the government, then you don't need to tax as much, which means
Right.
more people can have money, which can stimulate the economy, and because people are spending more.
Yeah.
But I think it's really hard because it's like, can you have one without the other? Can you have the military to do what they want and then not lie to us about some of the other stuff? I mean, it's
No.
it's
you
pretty
can't,
hard, and I
'cause
don't
there's
think you
humans
can.
involved.
Right, absolutely. And with humans, especially in
Goddamn
political positions of
humans.
power, that power goes to their head,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh, I'm top dog."
Yeah.
And so,
This guy, the Bloom guy, was describing the new age military industrial complex and how it works. And like, that's why NASA's fucked up right now. And that's why it's really important for Elon Musk and what's the CEO of Amazon?
Jeff Bezos,
Yes, he also has a rocket company.
I think does he?
Yeah.
Is that Blue
Yeah.
Feather or something like that?
Yeah. What'd you call it?
Blue Feather? Or no,
Something like that. Blue
Planet?
something.
Blue
They were showing videos of it,
Blue
but he
Origin.
Blue
he,
Origin.
he can also land
But
land
who's-
rockets and shit too, right?
Who's Virgin's
Yep. They
That's-
actually did it
That
before.
Virgin is
Virgin Air? They have another one.
Richard Branson.
Yeah, that Blue Origin actually did it before SpaceX.
Yeah, they were
That's
saying
Jeff Bezos'
if
company.
yeah they were saying that
Yes.
if Elon Musk and what's his company?
Blue Origin.
Blue Origin.
No, Elon Musk's
SpaceX.
Yeah, SpaceX and Elon Musk are the hair. Then
Blue Origin and Jeff
Vir-
Bezos.
And then Virgin
yeah,
Galactic.
are
Or
the
the turtle.
tortoise. Yes,
And then it's Virgin Galactic is the.
Virgin Galactic. Yeah. that's what I
because
think.
he's reused the same rocket 10 times, and then they said Elon Musk has reused his 2 rockets a total of 11 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And he explained how the current situation works with NASA for flight missions, and he gave an analogy as if you needed to take a flight from New York to Los Angeles. It's free. You just have to pay the cost to fly the ship there or fly the plane.
free.
It's free, but you got to buy the plane.
That seems exactly how it is now. You can
That's
fly from
what he's,
Phoenix
That's what he's saying.
to New York for free.
This is how it is now.
You just got to pay for the ticket.
This is that's the way he described it. It didn't really
All you
make
need
sense,
to pay
but
for is the company's
maybe
overhead.
you can decipher what he was saying because it didn't make sense to me
Okay.
now that you mention it. But
Maybe it's
yeah,
free, you
he
can
was
pay
saying you had to
build the
like you
plane.
buy the
They're
plane,
just gonna blow it up.
like they charge $275 or $250,000 or $250 million, whatever it is, some
Right.
total. Fly you there, and then instead of reusing that to go back and forth, they fly it off into the Atlantic. And then when you need to go back to New York, they buy and make you another plane
right.
and then fly it back and then
Yeah.
fly it and ditch it in the Atlantic.
Right,
And they
so
just
that's
keep
the current
making
system,
new
where
ones
they just
every time
right.
they are needed.
Right,
And
but
they
on the
cost
rockets,
some
yeah.
fucking insane amount of money.
Right.
And that's eating up the whole budget. And the whole reason they do that is because the space program and like aerospace industry with like Boeing, Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, all them, they're not in the fucking business of space and shit anymore. They're in the business of just manufacturing
Making the rockets
space
that
shit.
they shoot to the Atlantic.
Correct.
Yeah.
They're in the business of creating jobs. And
Right.
that's how they continue to get their funding is they contribute to campaigns, they lobby
Mhm.
or contribute to campaigns for senators and like he was explaining how Boeing, and I know for a fact this is true because I've been to fucking 47 or 46 or 47 of the 50 states. And he straight up said that Boeing is in 45 of 50 fucking states. And the reason they're in all of these different states and they don't just stick to one area, is because they're leveraging those states, basically. They're creating jobs in those states,
Right.
which then gives them an in to, and if they contribute to those senators from that state
Right.
and their campaign
Then
finances,
they'll be more favorable to.
then
towards
they
them
can
on
be
that
like, well,
military. Or
we'll cut
government
off money
spending.
for your campaign,
Right.
and also we'll close our factory in your state, and your state will lose jobs, and that's not what your constituents
Right.
want at all.
So they say that you keep us making the one rocket
Yeah,
and
and he
disposing
called
of
them
it.
like a cabal. They're like a aerospace, military, industrial complex cabal that for the aerospace industry, and
Like
that,
the cabal from the Blacklist.
correct, yeah. And that yeah, every year they always just continue to maintain these things that support them, the fucking big old timey aerospace industry, and that it's important for people like Bezos, and is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Jeff Bezos.
Bezos and Elon
Elon
Musk
To-
to do what they're doing, because
fight
that's
the
the only
status quo.
way we're going to compete. Because this guy goes, I work for fucking NASA, but I don't work exclusively for NASA. And he was
Right.
like, and I'm a part of this other fucking council or something with China's space program. And China is like, in the next 10 years, going to go mine a meteor, because one fucking meteor or some shit has more resources than the not enough for us. It doesn't equate to the amount of resources that America has consumed, but like it's like England, France, fucking India, and China all combined. One meteorite has more resources on it than all of them have ever used, or some shit
Wow.
like that.
Yeah, I've heard that they have like more.
raw resources
on
like
some of
rare
these-
earth
yeah.
minerals and all sorts of crazy shit.
Like they were saying, like some like gold. Like they could be one meteor that has more gold than we've ever seen on Earth.
Yeah,
like, type of
exactly.
thing and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Like, how nuts is that? And
But I think, like,
China's going to take advantage of that.
what they
and
were saying
we're
though, the
fucked.
only way to make it profitable would be you have to make like a station that has these mining devices.
That's what this guy was saying.
that could go mine it, bring it to the station, and that's where they handle like all the material and
The
stuff.
reason why it's important that we have reusable rockets from the private sector now is, and what NASA should be doing since it's got rid of its shuttle program and everything, is focus on building the equipment needed to mine,
Right.
because the rockets are there, and
Yeah.
the other guys will fucking let you rent the
they'll
rockets
get
all
you
day
there.
all day
Right.
long. Yeah, you just need to focus on like creating the mining equipment,
Right.
and like they don't have the funding to do research and development like that because of the weird fucking fucked up system.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think Boeing and those guys are important companies to have, because they have a lot of fucking good scientists, and they come out with a lot of
Experience
different
and-
shit,
yeah.
and they're tried and true,
Well,
like the
especially-
greatest manufacturing companies.
Especially Boeing, because of what they do for like the commercial airlines
Right,
and stuff. Like
right.
every airplane is a Boeing 7 or an 8 series or something.
The way that the airline industry is structured, in a sense, is how NASA and the space industry should be structured, but
Right.
it's not. It's just a machine that creates jobs.
So do you think that eventually we'll get there?
This guy was saying that China and like the spirit of competition will be what
Right.
gets us there, but we're
I-
behind right now.
For
we
sure.
need to
But
not be behind.
I will say the one nice thing about America is when we want something,
We rise to the motherfucking occasion
That's
because
right.
we're America.
and as many people want to criticize and say, and you know what? Not everything lasts forever, and maybe we have a downfall, and maybe we can't rise and compete, and then we're the ones left in the dust. You
Yeah.
have all these other countries going to space, and we're just
Yeah.
like, oh, that looks like fun. But I will say, historically, America has been really great, especially the United States of America, because there are
Dude, we're like baby
two
geniuses
Americas. Yeah,
in this world. America. We're the baby geniuses.
right.
Why do you ask? Because
Because
it just
we're
occurred to me that we are the youngest fucking country in the entire world, but we're like the head honchos.
Yeah.
We're baby geniuses. We have, what, 200 years? 300, 250 years of history?
I don't think it's quite 250.
Might not even be that much. 200 years of history.
1776, right?
American, we know that.
So
Yeah, dude.
about 250.
It's almost 250.
Yeah.
230 to 250. Well, I'm not going to do the math right now,
Yeah.
but it's 200 plus.
Yeah.
200 plus years of experience.
1776.
Yeah, I knew that because we're real Americans. You had
Like-
to look it up.
Dude.
Yeah.
Iraq has fucking 6,000 years of experience. If I was the rest of the world, I'd fucking hate America too.
Yeah.
Because they're like,
You guys come in new.
Yeah.
You're doing it better.
Yeah.
You're showing us all
Yeah.
up. You're giving women right
haters
to vote.
gonna fucking hate, bro.
Like, what was it in some country? It's like women just got the ability to drive cars.
Yeah, in
And they
Saudi
were-
Arabia.
And they were saying, like, it's pretty messed up in the world we live in that cars were able to drive themselves before women could
were.
drive themselves.
It is fucked
And
up.
prospectively, when you look at like that is messed up.
It
like,
is.
like I do not agree with that. You
Yeah,
know?
because these people are stuck in the dark ages in some
They're
of
stuck
these
in their old
places,
ways.
but they have
But I
6,000
think
years of history.
That's one of the things that's like pretty awesome about, again, those freedoms that we don't have because we're sheep or whatever.
That's not possible if you're not free.
That's what I'm saying. It can't be
100%.
possible.
The reason
because
these
people
people
come here from other countries,
Yes,
to
experience that freedom,
right?
And it's the reason why their country sucks
Yeah.
because they don't have the
And I
freedom
think
to do what free people
Just
can
like
do.
you're saying, the spirit of competition. I think you're seeing more countries like becoming more and more free and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Some of them they'll get there and then they fall backwards, like what's going on in Egypt and Venezuela
Right.
and stuff. Like, because you'll always have that one person that's like, well, now that I'm in charge, I want it to be how it was when the
Right.
power thing or whatever. Like, I want that, and so they struggle with it because
Right.
it's trying to break those thousands of years of experience of doing
Yep.
it one way. But I think like that is really good for the species. Like, especially when you look at like the curve of like technology, it's like we went from like 30 to 40 years from like the microwave to like the DVD player.
Yeah.
But we went from like the DVD player to like the cell phone to the smartwatch in like 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I
It was
mean?
way short
Like,
time.
So with that curve of increase of technology gains is just
The next big
going
gain is when
insane.
AI becomes sentient.
robotics and
well.
I'm scared of that sentient AI, man. It's like no one
Sentient
like,
AI is
no one
what
has
is
seen
gonna be-
Terminator
dude.
or the
They
Matrix.
they have, and trust me, they're afraid of that shit. That's why
I'm
it's
terrified of that.
That's why we're like, oh yeah, AI, but like Google has to keep it primitive because like Google's fucking little AI assistant like could learn itself into godhood and fucking rule the human race if they're
Right.
not careful.
Especially when you start talking about like VR,
yeah,
when now
talking
we're
about-
willingly plugging ourselves into it.
everything that's networked.
Then the AI is going to be
period.
like, okay, let me feed you this positive feedback.
You know how cell phones can explode?
Yeah.
They've been known to do so.
Hmm.
Imagine if an AI took over
And just blew up
and
phones.
blew up everyone's fucking cell phones while they're in their pocket or next to their fucking head. Like, GG, you just killed 80% of the fucking people in the world, AI,
Yeah.
in an instant.
I don't think 80% of the people have cell phones. It's probably high
I think
though.
you'd be fucking surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be 80% of the world's. It'd be 80% of the U.S. population.
Oh, for sure. Probably even more than that. I would really say.
yeah. People got Obama phones, man. They're smart now.
Mm-hmm. SMRT.
Yeah, pretty nuts. AI is scary. Let's not get into that.
I don't want.
It's doom and gloom.
Yeah.
It's really
It
cool.
scares-
though.
it scares
it's
the
really
crap.
fucking cool.
It's
though.
one of those things that's
Dude,
like,
Robopocalypse.
Well,
Gotta read it.
who was it that
Dude,
said
I
something?
earned some serious cred by saying, "Yo, here's Ready Player One." I think my book recommendation skills are
Yeah.
on point.
Really good.
Robopocalypse.
Robopocalypse.
You're welcome.
Okay, that'll be the next
Daniel H. Wilson.
Because I was like thinking after I finished that, I was like, well, now I need something else.
You
to
got
do.
a new one.
Like,
And Daniel H.
Robopocalypse.
Wilson's written like 4 really good AI, robot, future sci-fi type books that are
Yeah.
really good. Robopocalypse, Robogenesis, Amped, and I'm reading another one called Clockwork something or other. And it's pretty interesting about automatons. Automatas?
Like the Disneyland Small World automatons.
Yeah. Like old school geared robots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's interesting so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think like there's a lot of that stuff. That's what I was going to get to. So humans have a tendency to make these super awesome creations and then kind of get out of hand with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people don't realize this, but dogs are a human creation.
Yeah.
Like everything about like there was only like a certain breed of canines, and then through genetic modifications
called
and crossbreeding and stuff. Yeah,
They were wolves.
Right, wolves, and then the species after wolves that were like domesticated wolves. You know, like they were
All dogs are wolves.
well, not all. I mean, look at
All
his
dogs.
little
His dude is a wolf.
from many years
The origin of that dog is a wolf.
from the long time ago.
All dogs, every breed
Every single
of dog,
I get but
its ancestors are wolves
we got to the tiny dog
by doing what you're talking about.
from genetic
Correct.
modification and stuff like that.
Right.
And
We do that all the time. GMO.
yeah,
That's
GMO.
what
and but
people
the,
were saying.
the people I think kind of like they talk about GMOs as being bad and they just look at it like, oh well, they're using chemicals and stuff in different things. It's
No,
like no,
that's
but
not what that is.
we've been genetically modifying things for thousands of years.
We don't
like-
keep the ugly fruit to sell at the grocery store.
Right.
That's genetically modifying organisms.
Right.
We're taking the best
we're,
of the
we're
best and
killing
then
all, and we're
using
only
the best
using
to
those to
seed for
and
the
to
next
be
crop.
fair, humans are that way too.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
For
you
sure.
know? I mean, it's if and like why people always say like, well, why does this happen? It's like, well, because we had our early ancestors adapted to those circumstances to
That's so
like
funny.
overcome that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's not like we were born and we're like we hate this and so we're like, yeah, we'll just ignore it. Like,
Yeah.
no, if you couldn't survive in the world, you died,
Right.
and then you didn't reproduce, and so your genes died off, and only the dominant ones are what's remaining.
Right. We were talking about fears and that how that's applicable in
the
genetics.
fear of dark.
So like snakes, fear of snakes. It's not that somebody in your ancestry was bitten by a snake and died, because
Right.
they wouldn't pass the gene on
Right.
to you if they died.
Right.
So all of our
It was just being
ancestors
who were skeptical of snakes,
no
who didn't
saw
die.
somebody else fucking die from
Or
a
something,
snake to
yeah.
know that that's like because if
Right.
you didn't see it, you wouldn't know what killed that person. So they witnessed a
But it-
snake bite somebody else, and that person died
Right.
because of it. And so then they decided, okay, I need to stay the fuck away from that
But
snake.
it could be though, like even though they never saw someone get bit by a snake, they saw a snake and they're like, I don't want to go near it
No, that
because
doesn't
they
happen.
they
like
weren't
that.
they weren't sure of it.
No.
You don't think so?
No, the thing is that like fear of drowning. Somebody witnessed somebody drown and lived to tell about the person that they watched drown.
Right.
And out of fear of dying from drowning, like that's how that fear
Yeah,
has been
I guess that-
instilled and passed down.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I
like, you
still
have to
think too of
witness
like,
it. Like
but I still
crazy.
think like general skepticism wasn't necessarily always because you saw someone do it and you were like, well, I don't believe that. It could have been like, I'm just skeptical. Like if you see like a lion with these giant teeth and just using your own environment, like, okay, that person has tiny teeth and I could see what he does. That thing has giant teeth. You don't necessarily need to see someone get eaten by it to realize the type of damage that lion could do. You know what I mean? I think that it's a combination, like general, like,
you're not going to have that opportunity because
like I think so.
the
let's-
moment in time to decide
Here's
that.
an example though. So you have a lion right here. The lion will be
Yeah.
the paper. Then you have two people. Oops, sorry. And then you have this person's skeptical. This person's not. So this person's like, oh, I'm gonna go look at it. This person who's like, this lion then eats the person. He's like, yep, confirmation. I'm GTFO.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think the skepticism was like, because if everyone was just like naturally curious and was like,
Right.
I'm not afraid of it. I've
Fair.
never seen it. I'm just going to go touch this and it's going to eat me.
I think that's what it was, and then the people that didn't get eaten were witnesses, and like
They were witnesses, but I think that there was probably some of them, some things were probably like, I don't want to go over there. Like I just have a bad feeling about this.
I don't think they had a feeling. I think they just weren't the first person to do it.
Maybe.
So
And it's
I think that's the case.
We can't go back and see.
you
I
don't
would
ever
like
want
to
to be the
think that,
first person.
I would like to think that humans were a
To try
little
things.
bit more smart than
No,
that. But
no.
Like, animals and stuff do the same thing. Like,
Yes. Yes.
well, animals now, especially because like sharks. if
my
you
dog
put-
doesn't know that a wolf will kill it. It will go up to a wolf like and try and fucking be friends with it.
Yeah, but,
and then
like,
it'll get killed.
Tucker,
would
you
be
look
so
at him and
funny.
he's terrified. You know, so I think like that could be our intelligent design.
Yeah, but
though.
we're the apex predator, and
Yeah.
Huge
other animals have a sense for who's where on the food chain.
right,
You're right. Cues, visual cues. Oh, that thing's bigger than me.
right.
You're right.
But then you have some people that are like, oh, I'm gonna go over there and poke it, or I'm gonna see a
Right.
bear. I'm gonna go take a selfie with the bear. It's a
Right.
good thing that bear mauled him to death,
Right.
Because that stupidity won't be reproduced.
But then we do dumb things like what is it called when you give human characteristics to animals? Anthropomorphic? Is that what it is?
Yeah, something like that, where like you try to like humanize or
Yeah, like Yogi Bear.
Yeah,
Kids are like,
bears
oh,
are cute
bears are
because
awesome.
he wears a tie,
and he talks,
has a hat.
and he's like us. And then you go and like, oh, it's Yogi Bear in real life, and he fucking rips your head off in a
Right.
fucking second.
Yeah,
Eats you
but
alive while you're
that's
still
the
alive.
cycle, right? So his siblings are going to be like,
Anthropomorphic, right?
Anthropomorphic.
Yeah. Anthropomorphic.
It has an IZE at the end.
Anthropomorphize.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the
Yeah.
verb of it.
I got it.
Yeah,
I was spot on.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like people are like, oh, it's cute because it was in this movie, and then they
Right.
like
Morphism.
what was I don't know. There's some kids movie where like they do that. Like they make this predator.
Zootopia, bro.
Yeah, Zootopia. Oh, the tiger's cute because he's doing this dance
The
thing. on his
Lion
phone.
King?
Yeah. That wasn't.
Finding Nemo.
But the Lion King didn't necessarily make you think like humans would be safe with them because they weren't there.
Okay.
And
fine,
like they did
fine.
mention like, but we eat the gazelle, you know, like so they that whole movie was a circle of life. Like that's what it was. It was like that one was dope.
They're remaking it.
I know.
So
Donald Glover's
a
gonna
buddy
be
was
Simba.
like, the reason why most people in general have a fear of public speaking is because of the fear that
the church would
originates.
come and kill you.
No, it
for
originates
speaking
from
out.
like tribal councils judging you and going in front of like your tribe to be judged
Yeah.
on something that you did. That's like from like hunter gatherer times,
Right.
Like it's.
And that makes sense.
It translated to
Well, I think
fear
they're
of
even
public
saying
speaking.
now, like I don't know how true it is, but I thought I've read something or was seeing something that they can actually go into your DNA and like find memories from it. Or maybe I'm just thinking of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds a lot like.
But I kind of feel like that's a real thing too.
Somebody
though.
else just told me that
Like-
water as a storage device. Like they explained the
Yeah, I've heard
concept
of
of
that.
water as a storage device, and
Yep.
they said if you put a rose in a glass of water, like a rose stem, and you pull it out, and then you take a drop of the water from the cup. Every single drop of water you take from the cup, like not just the water molecules that touch the stem, but even the ones that were out, like away from it, that didn't directly touch it, will have cells from the stem. Like it, as soon as it goes in
Right.
there, it disperses,
And
and
because water is always moving.
it holds that data in
Yeah.
every single molecule of water in the glass. And they're saying like that's like a storage mechanism.
Yeah, I
and
have
that
heard
water
of like
is-
people who want to use water for.
and what a
for
coincidence
storage.
that the human body is made up of fucking 80-90% water.
Right. But that's a little bit different in the sense of like it's only the water that you've ingested. It's not
But
like
it's not, because it's all of the water. We also discussed that, how
so
when
like
you
your mother
inherit
when she's
genes,
pregnant with you
you
and she has
inherit
water,
half of
it
your
goes in.
mom's genes,
Right.
and half of like you
Well, it's
inherit
not a perfect split.
it's
But I
not-
get where you're going with that.
Yeah, but you think of it as like, what is it?
Like some genes can
What's
be dominant. Like you can be more
23
dad or mom.
23? Is that how many?
Yep.
It's 46 total.
Yep.
So you get 23 from each of your parents to make 46, but
Right.
it's not really that. It's 46 and 46.
Yeah, and then one of them dominates the other.
Right, but you still have them all. It's like
You're
two
a
halves
carrier.
making like instead of
I
making a
think
new
for
whole, it's two.
chromosomes. I don't think that that's true.
But like
I think
as
you
far
really
as
do, 'cause I
genetics
think,
and like
like,
your
you-
your lineage and like what they can like what you're inheriting from your ancestors, yes, that's 100% true.
Yeah,
you
like,
inherit
all
all of the
of the genes,
experiences
yes. So,
and
like-
stuff from your ancient
So
ancestors.
like if your parents have like, or say your grandparents have blue eyes
Mhm.
and your parents have brown eyes, you have brown eyes, and you have a kid who has blue eyes, it's because you carried that blue eye gene all the way down the chain.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I just think the chromosomes are different in that.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about.
Yeah, I
I'm saying
think
I'm
you're
using it,
crossing-
but I'm. It's yes, half and half, and so you're like half of each of your parent, right?
Right.
But you're really all of them.
More of everything.
Yeah.
More of all the way back up the tree.
Right.
Until
it's
they were
just the genes that
siblings,
are
and then you're like
expressed in you outwardly are the
Right.
ones that are turned on.
Yes.
That you actively inherited, the dominant genes.
Yep, the dominant ones. Yeah.
But you still have recessive genes, even though they're not
you're a
visible,
carrier, yeah.
that you can pass on.
Yeah.
from everyone that you're ever been related to.
Right. So you chase it all the way back to Lucy or whatever.
Crazy.
Is that the
Yeah, I think that's the old one now.
Lucy?
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
pretty
she's
creepy.
old as fuck.
Yeah.
Like 100, 200, maybe even longer than that.
I think it's longer than that.
Look it up. Lucy, first human.
No, it wasn't a human. It was an ancient.
First
ancient
hominid.
species. Yeah,
Hominid, not human. Hominid.
Yeah.
Bipedal.
The first Homo erectus.
Homo erectus, like a dick.
Yeah, it's not one of the first churches.
Would that be a gay dick? Homo erectus? Ah.
What was that? The ladies' man?
I don't know.
You have Homo erectus.
3.2 million years.
3.2 million years. I was
Yeah.
trying to convey to somebody
Can't even fathom that.
3.2 million's unfathomable.
Yeah.
Think of infinity.
Well, infinity isn't a number.
Infinity is
It's just that everything can have an association. Like you can use a number for infinity because you could always add another number to associate to infinity.
infinity is
And
insanity.
there's always
Yeah.
a bigger infinity too.
To try and
There's what?
There's
comprehend.
always a bigger infinity.
Yeah, there could
Yeah.
always be like an infinity can contain smaller
I
infinities.
know. Yeah. Infinity's also fractal.
Null. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're fractal.
Yeah.
They're very fractal.
And I was trying to explain to somebody, and I always hate using X, Y, and Z axes with people that don't know anything about AutoCAD because
Yeah.
they don't get it. But I was trying to explain to somebody that on the X and Y planes are infinite, but why does everybody forget that there's also a Z plane
yeah.
that's also infinite? All planes of existence are infinite. Like
Well, and then even so, if you take X, Y, Z, you could also add in time. So
yeah,
then you have
man-made. We had that discussion yesterday. too.
motion. Time is just a measurement of motion.
Yeah.
So like what I'm saying though is like we're having this moment right here, but if you were to like travel 100 miles at the same time someone's having, but 10 minutes from now or 20 minutes from now, we might be in different places, and then you know what I mean. So it's the
Yeah.
infinite series of
Right.
moments that happen throughout
Right.
everything. So that's like the fourth dimension you could add in. So you
Yeah.
have
And that's pretty unfathomable.
you have X is one dimension, Y is one dimension, Z is third dimension.
Yeah.
Time is fourth dimension.
Maybe that's what the person was talking about when they was talking about string theory in 11 dimensions.
Yeah, that has more dimensions, and that's even more.
Yeah, and that 3 or 4 of them collapsed, and that was the Big Bang, and
That's
the
possible.
remaining 7 or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and we only know about
I still like
4
the
or
idea
5.
of
We
like
have 4 or 5 confirmed dimensions.
I think there's more than that. Like
Like not just theoretical, but
Right,
like we can
yeah.
observe these dimensions.
yes, because of like when you start taking into account like dark energy and dark matter and stuff, like where we know the effects of it are there.
Right.
We just can't see it. So it's kind of confirms like that there's something else out there.
Right.
But I still like if you take the universe as like a giant pond or an ocean or whatever,
Mhm.
and you take like a giant rock and you throw it into it and the ripples work out from there.
Mm-hmm.
From our perspective, we could say, well, let's look at these ripples, chase them back. It all came from a singular point.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that explosion happened, but it was in a vast galaxy or universe of stuff, and that's where I like to think like the Big Bang wasn't the creation of everything. That was just a moment in time of some event happening,
Yeah.
and
A
like
catalyst.
because people was like, well, how can
Reaction.
something come from nothing? It's like, well, if you look at the Higgs field, you can find out that actually something can come from nothing, and that's what like the Higgs boson proved, and
Okay.
everything. But
God particle.
yeah, which was a huge misnomer. Like
Yeah.
that particle wasn't anything special. It didn't do anything. It just
Right.
proved that matter could come from just electrons, through the Higgs field.
Yeah.
So you, in theory, could take just energy
This-
and turn it into a physical
the
object.
Bloom dude kind of touches on that a little bit and was talking about how weird the Big Bang is, and like he's just talking to like bare minimum, like how he's basically saying nothing to a bunch of fucking quarks
hmm
existed, like just sprang into existence, and then
Right.
like they started this communicative thing where they joined together to make protons and neutrons,
Right.
and then they just keep
Subatomic
collapsing and
particles,
like
and then they
contracting
started-
each
yeah.
other and making these communities, and then he refers to planets and stars and shit as gravity balls, and the
Yeah.
gravity balls push and pull and fight and battle each other to build
Be
bigger
bigger and bigger and
communities.
bigger, yeah.
And then once it all settles out and everything reaches like a balance or whatever.
Thermal equilibrium.
Yeah. Then
The heat death of the
here
universe.
we are.
Well, yeah, we're kind of still working towards that thermal equilibrium.
Yeah, but then we were talking about how weird it is, how many different, like, you know how they refer to it as the Goldilocks zone is what our planet exists in.
Yeah.
But how many Goldilocks zones it takes to, like, that you can, like, discern to that no one even realizes, like
Right.
the Goldilocks zone as far as gravity, to not be crushed under the weight of gravity,
Right.
but not go flying off the planet.
Yeah.
Like there's like this perfect Goldilocks zone that keeps us grounded to Earth,
Right.
but allows
But-
us to jump up in the air or dive deep down.
But also, too, again, that's what I'm saying is we're not, it's like, wow, that's so coincidental. It's like we are because of that gravity. Like our shapes and sizes are work that way because of the gravity here on this
right.
planet.
That's
If
Product
we
of
had
our
if we had
environment.
less gravity, which we might relative to other planets, and we do relative to other planets,
We'd all be
we
elongated
would be-
and stretched.
we could
possibly.
be bigger or something.
We
Our
would
shapes and
adapt.
sizes are because of the gravity that's here.
Right.
You know, it's- Yeah, we would have evolved differently from it.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think it's all pretty crazy, and I really like because I was talking to someone not that long ago. They're like, so you're saying like just from pure cosmic coincidence, we're here because of that? I'm like, absolutely. But do you know how many events happened that didn't like turn into fruition? Like, so it's a pretty fascinating coincidence, like to
Yeah.
make life and everything and how we evolved and all that stuff on this planet.
But in the grand scale of infinity,
right, it probably
this
like,
has happened millions of
millions of
fucking
times.
times,
All
hundreds
over.
of millions,
Yeah.
billions, trillions,
uncountable infinity amount of times.
Infinity amount of times, exactly. And people can't fucking
No.
wrap their head around that. Like
Because- and-
in infinity, everything is infinite.
And realistically, too, I can't even wrap my head around it.
No.
I just know that
That's a possibility.
that's a possibility. Yeah, it makes sense.
I had a weird thought last night after I heard somebody say that, and then I was like, infinity, yeah, and this could happen in infinite amount of times, and why have we never been contacted by these people and shit? And then I was like, what if Earth is like the origin of the human race, right? And like the whole rest of the universe is populated by humans from the
Humans,
past,
yeah.
and like they've all agreed that as they go out on their like Star Trek voyage to explore deep space, like we're the starting point.
Yeah.
And all of these people that are out there in existence, they left, and their thing is don't look back. The only
Right.
people that are worthy of space exploration are the ones that get there on their own after we've been gone. Like,
Yeah.
don't give them anything to get there, and we'll see you when you've become what you need to become to get here.
Once we achieve space exploration, then they're like, "Hey, welcome to the club. Here's your jacket."
Correct. And so
Yeah.
like there's this whole thing, and they actively hide from us to not give us any kind of hints
Right.
or like
and they'd be that much more advanced that
motivators.
our primitive technologies. They could be like, "Oh, dude, they're sending
they just
radar.
they just launched a CubeSat. Measly CubeSats. They're at the
Yeah.
CubeSat phase, guys.
Hey, only 100,000 more years to go."
Right.
The problem with that theory,
What
though,
phase are they at?
and the only reason why I don't like that is because I don't like to think of humans as special. Because once they're special, then the whole like God stuff can actually start making sense you know what I mean? Like in a big picture.
But
But if we're just like, if we are a happy accident of this neighborhood of the universe, and over here someone else is doing the same thing, and also who knows, maybe it just takes a certain amount of time for something to like the next leap to occur. And so maybe you have 100 billion planets all at this phase right now, just because the amount of time that they've had to work on this since that ripple effect or Big Bang or whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it, is we're all where we need to be. Maybe some people are a little bit further ahead. Maybe some people are behind us a little bit, but we're all in that Goldilocks zone of life
right.
where we're all kind of close to one another
Well,
in that.
It's kind of like survival of the fittest too, with that
Right.
too, because
It's
we
they had to
have
adapt to their planets and
so
everything. And
get this though, we're ultimately like we're super capable of adapting to things, and
Right.
like given enough time we'll adapt as well. Who's to say that this space travel, humans colonizing space, hasn't been going on for millennia?
and that's entirely
And that
possible.
the
That could've been-
what we know as humans, if we finally get there and we go out and we find one on our way, we pass by one and we find it, and we're like, oh yeah, let's go see what's up, and we talk to them, and they look completely different. They look alien to us.
Right.
And maybe that's their
adaptation
to the new
Right.
planet that they've decided to inhabit, and
Yeah.
they take on their physical characteristics are altered
It-
over the course of thousands of years.
It could be the same thing that there was some other life that came to Earth, and we are the embodiment of our adaptation. Of that life.
Right,
Well, then
exactly.
Sending people to Mars, they will adapt to Mars.
Right.
and
Correct.
become-
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be Martians.
They'll be Martians, exactly.
But anyway, on that note,
Pretty nutsos.
I think that's a pretty good
Is it?
run.
To be continued.
almost-
To be
Well,
continued.
that's what I'm saying. That's a conversation that we could definitely
We'll get more into that
in-depth
next
on
time.
it. What is it?
It's almost 6. It's 5:55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's the time on the?
1:45.
Sounds good. That was a
Pretty
good
good.
comeback.
Yeah, a good comeback tour.
See
Hopefully-
you all in 2 months.
This guy's bitter. He was like, if you don't do it
Man.
in a month, it's canceled. He's
What?
like, it's dead.
No,
He was like,
never
telling me, he's like, I've
canceled.
already started selling all your podcasting equipment.
Hey,
Jerk.
life comes up.
Yeah,
This
it
was a very important thing to get done. So, yeah.
Yep.
There was a good reason we were on break.
Yeah.
We'll
Some-
see that soon.
Yeah.
Open.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fingers crossed. So,
That'd be awesome.
but anyway, yep. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks
Yeah,
for coming
we're
back.
back.
We're back.
We'll make it more frequent. We
Yeah,
promise.
we're working on some stuff. So,
Yeah.
peace.
Laters.